Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Johns Hopkins School of Education, School Administration and Supervision virtual webinar. My name is Tanya McMillan, and I am an admissions coordinator here at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Also here with me today, I have my colleague from the Office of Admissions, and she will introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sion John, Assistant Director of Admissions here at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Welcome.
Presenting today, we also have Dr. Annette Anderson, Professor and Faculty Lead for the School Administration and Supervision programs. Before we get started, I would like to cover a few housekeeping topics. First, today's webinar is being recorded. We will be able to share a link with you after the event is complete. Also, please take this time to make sure your microphone is on mute and your video camera is off. There will be a question and answer session at the end of today's presentation. Please type your questions in the chat box and we will read and answer your questions. Next, I'd like to share the agenda for today's virtual webinar. We will kick off the presentation, sharing an overview of the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Then Dr. Anderson will go over the details of the school administration and supervision programs. And lastly, we'll wrap up with questions, with admission requirements, and review financial aid, and then leave the floor open for questions at the end. To start, here are some quick facts about the Johns Hopkins School of Education. We are one of 9 schools at Johns Hopkins University. We began offering college courses for teachers in 1909 and then became our own school in 2007. We are proud to share that the Johns Hopkins School of Education is consistently ranked one of the top schools in education by the U.S. News and World Report. For school enrollment, we have approximately 2,364 students and offer 27 graduate programs, which include doctoral, master's, and graduate certificate programs. Lastly, we have over 23,000 SOE alums. I would like to now introduce you to Dr. Annette Anderson. Dr. Annette Anderson is a native of Baltimore and a graduate of Baltimore City Public Schools, an experience that has left an indelible mark on her career interests in educational equity and adequacy. Besides her research pursuits, she served in a variety of school-based positions, including classroom teacher, teacher leader, curriculum coordinator, and assistant principal. She has also served as the Chief Executive Officer and founding principal of Widener Partnership Charter School, the first university-assisted charter school in Pennsylvania. The school quickly became known to state and local education officials as a successful model for university public school partnerships. At this time, I'd like to hand the floor over to Dr. Anderson. Welcome, Dr. Anderson, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. It's such a joy to be here with all of you, and thank you for that warm and wonderful introduction, Tanya. Okay, we're ready to go. I think we can get started with today's session. The primary question that I think you should think about as you are preparing for the next step in your career is to ask yourself, are you ready to lead? We know that being an effective school leader in today's evolving educational environment requires knowledge, skills, and dispositions, but you have to be able to have those in tandem to consider how you would make a lasting academic, social, and community impact as a school and building leader. Our face-to-face and online school administration and supervision programs, both at the master's degree as well as at the certificate level, are designed to help prepare you to be highly proficient so that you can transition into those roles seamlessly and know that you're going into leadership positions with expertise, stamina, as well as support. And we also offer a certificate program for those who are interested in educational leadership for independent schools as well. Thank you. Next slide, please. So we are very fond of saying that our program prepares school leaders to become change agents who are ready. So what does that mean? Well, we mean ready to address the complex challenges in our current education and communities as reflective practitioners, as evidence-based decision makers, as applied technology integrators, as diversity advocates, as well as, yes, also experts in content. Thank you. Next slide, please. Our program will help to prepare you for a variety of school roles, including head of school, if you're in an independent school, a principal or an assistant principal, whether you're thinking about being a departmental leader or a content specialist, or otherwise serving on your school's leadership team. Our admin and supervision programs are designed to help you be prepared and ready to lead. So there are a number of district-wide leadership roles. People always reach out and ask, whether or not this program is going to help them to quickly ascend into the leadership seat. We also get a lot of inquiries from people who are currently being pushed into leadership roles and want to make sure that they have the background to be able to do the job effectively. So if you have career goals, this program is definitely for you. Thank you. Next slide, please. Another question that we often get asked is, because it is Johns Hopkins, do I belong? A lot of people are considering the move into leadership, and they want the best education possible so that they can hit the ground running as a school leader. I think the challenge today, given the pandemic response to education and the impact that the pandemic has had on education, is that people really are hungry for rigor. They're hungry for content. They're hungry for value as well. And so people are looking for all of those in one program. And yes, it does exist in our School of Education at Johns Hopkins. So I also get a lot of questions from people wondering whether they belong in the environment at a place like Johns Hopkins University, given our international reputation for rigor. And I always am very quick to assure our candidates that, they will fit in despite the challenges and the rigor of our curriculum. Our graduates frequently report that they enjoy the robust classroom dialogue, as well as the activities that put them at a distinct advantage over their peers as they apply for positions in school leadership. Another issue that I know comes up is around the price point, but we know that for many of the people who pursue our program, they want to be competitive and they want to be able to put themselves ahead of the pack as they are applying for positions, and having that credential, that Hopkins credential on their leadership resume has in many cases helped to elevate candidates from the second or third in the pack to the front of the pack. We also hear from our alumni. In alumni surveys, we hear from our graduates that the networks that they build while they're in our program are extremely helpful as they complete their candidacy. Even as I was looking over the individuals who signed up for today's session, you see such a robust representation of individuals from all across the globe. We have people who come to our program who are in the Congo, who are in Guatemala, who are in Greece, and they're just as likely to be international candidates as they are to be local. We also have a widespread across the United States in terms of representation in our candidacy. So people come from everywhere, from Seattle, Washington to Washington, D.C., and from Texas to Texas, New York. So we get quite a bit of people who are applying from all over the country to become a part of this program, as well as around the world. And many, many, many of the people who are in our program say that it's other colleagues that they're working with who have recommended the program to them. And then finally, we deeply value diversity in our School of Education. And so it's a point of which I am particularly proud, especially under Dean Christopher Morphew, that the School of Education has made a significant investment in diversity and making sure that that diversity is representative both in our student body as well as our faculty and our staff. And so you'll see that our student body is diverse in our graduates as well as in terms of who comes to our program. So you'll hear from people who are experienced educators in your courses. You'll also hear from counselors, content specialists, and you'll also hear from people who are deeply invested in the work in other ways. So we really value a diversity of thought as well as representation in our program. Thank you. Next slide, please. All right, in terms of program options, for those who have a bachelor's degree and are currently teaching in a classroom position, or you have a public school certification, for example, as a counselor or a speech therapist, for example, we offer a 39 credit master's degree, which you would have up to 5 years to complete. Although many of our candidates report finishing this program in 3 years or less by taking 2 or more courses per semester, including the summer. In addition, we also offer online programs that are both traditional, and then we offer one that's in conjunction with our TFA master's degree candidates. So for the online certificate, you have up to 3 years to complete all of the certificate courses. And again, many people complete that program in 18 months, and some do it in fewer months than that. So there are lots of ways that this program can work for you. The flexibility of this program is one of the key, I would say, pieces to attract people to the program. It's not a cohort-based program, and so you have a lot of individual flexibility to help you to make decisions about when and where and how to take the courses. Thank you. Next slide, please. So getting through the program is, it's a rigorous program, and yet it's not daunting. We enjoy the conversations that happen in our courses, and that you are getting to meet your colleagues across the globe and the country in our online format. We offer that in both spring, summer, and fall. We offer all courses except for the internship in the summer as well. In the summer, we do not offer the internship because that is a semester-long course where you will collect 200 hours towards your Admin 1 credential if you're in the ANS program. And then we also offer independent school leadership courses. There are 5 courses that are part of that. And so we also run 8-week sessions. So you can start your course in January, or you might want to start it in March. We have a rolling admissions policy because we also are often looking at starting those courses twice per year. And you can take up to 2 courses per semester. If sometimes there are special circumstances where people need to take a 3rd course, and if that's the case, please reach out to myself so that we can make arrangements and figure out how to make the semester plan and your program plan work for you. One thing that you should remember is that candidates should plan to approach your chosen site-based mentor, your principal, assistant principal, department chair, whoever would be supervising you during the internship before the semester that internship begins, so that they can be fully aware of the requirements that you will need to fulfill during your internship, because they will need to sign off that you have successfully completed all of those items by the conclusion of the internship. And then we also have an orientation that is offered online. So you will have an opportunity to meet your professor and get a sense of what the requirements for the internship semester will look like. Thank you. Next slide, please. All right, so as I said before, there are 2 pathways. And so our courses, our roster is online, and it is not a cohort-based program. I know that Many regional institutions offer cohort-based programs. Ours are fully flexible because many of our graduates are very busy. If you are taking this on frequently, you're also doing several other things, whether it is your family life or whether it is taking on the role of drama coach or athletic director in your school. So our candidates need to have that flexibility to choose the sequence of their courses and to determine when they get their work done. And so if we do have face-to-face courses, they are taught at our Homewood campus, but most of our students at this point are taking their classes fully online. Thank you. Next slide, please. All right, as I described earlier, we do have a Teach for America cohort that is an online pathway. There are 2 classes in admin and supervision that are offered as they are TFA electives: school law and effective leadership. So all students in A&S have to take these courses, but if you are part of the Teach for America core, you may have taken these 2 classes as electives. And if that is the case, then you would enroll to take the remaining 4 courses to fulfill the Admin 1 certificate in the manner prescribed here, with organization and administration of schools, and then the supervision and PD course, and conclude with your curriculum course and the internship. But we also offer these courses. These courses are, again, they're for all of our students, but for many of our TFA students, they start taking their elective courses, and that will count towards their certification if they decide to enroll in a certificate program as well. Thank you. Next slide, please. All right, so our program, as I just said, there's 6 courses in the certificate program. This is our most popular option. Many people who come to our program already have their teaching certificate, and they may have a master's degree in a specialization area. For example, they may have gotten a specialized master's degree in biology, for example, but they still want to build out on their certificate. And so in order to do that, you need these 6 courses to complete the Admin 1 program. And I mentioned this a moment ago. It's ONA, our school law course, effective leadership, supervision and PD, our curriculum theory course, and then last but not least, the internship. The rest of the courses, except for the internship, are 8-week courses. So you are able to take those courses at the beginning of the semester or in the middle of the semester, depending on what your schedule looks like. And the internship is offered at the beginning of each fall and spring semester. Thank you. Next slide, please. So sometimes we get candidates who are highly motivated and they want to finish, even though I say that you can typically finish in 18 months, we often have candidates who are highly motivated and want to finish even sooner than that. So if that is the case, it is possible for that to happen. And you can do that by, for example, registering. If you registered in the spring, you would be able to take 2 classes in the spring, 2 classes in the summer, and then you'd be able to take your final 2 classes in the fall. That also works if you decide to start your program in the summer, because you could take 2 classes in the summer, 2 classes in the fall, and then you would finish your final 2 classes in the spring. So if people are highly motivated, if they know, for example, that they're going to be asked to take on a AP role in the coming year or a principal role coming up, in some instances, we've even seen that people who need to get this credential finished quickly will enroll in the program in that course sequence, and they will finish in a year. Although you do, as I want to stress, you have up to 3 years to finish the certificate. Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, so I think I've mentioned a lot about the online format of our courses, that they are 8 weeks and they're facilitated on a weekly cycle. They're very interactive in that you get to interact with your peers in the blog posts. And we also have some synchronous sessions that are offered voluntarily for the courses, so that you can meet the individuals in your class as well as your instructors. There's a balance of both whole group and team and individual assignments that are posted each week. We currently use Blackboard and TK20, but we will be shifting to Canvas for the fall of 2022. So we're looking forward to having an even more highly integrated process and easier facilitation of our courses through Canvas next fall. Thank you. Next slide, please. Now, if you're interested in the master's degree, I noticed that quite a few people who registered for today's session are interested in our master's degree program. We do offer a 39 credit or 13 course master's degree program. That is also typically completed within 3 years. If you do not have a master's degree, for example, if you are a classroom teacher who now wants to get a master's degree in admin and supervision, we do offer that as well. Those 6 courses that I mentioned for the certificate serve as the heart of that program plan for the master's degree, but it's rounded out with other additional content specific courses such as advanced instructional strategies and action research. And you also would do some additional training around technology, for example, and policy before you actually got to your internship. The internship is still the capstone course for the master's degree as well. Thank you. Next slide, please. And then the overview of the internship. So we get lots of questions about the internship. The internship is designed, again, so for our Admin 1 programs, you should have at least 27 months of satisfactory teaching experience before you take the internship. So many times people will, I sometimes have candidates who are coming out of undergrad who know that they already want to go into a leadership role. Is it possible for them to start our program? Absolutely. But before you apply for your credential, you in the state of Maryland must have the 27 months of satisfactory teaching experience. And so you are allowed to still go forward with your courses, but you just have to know that before you apply for that Admin 1 stamp, you should have your 27 months. The internship, as I've said, is the final capstone course in this sequence. And candidates should look for their mentor from their current school site before they are given permission to begin. There is a form that you submit to our office before you begin your internship so that we can make sure that you have a mentor assigned and so that our instructors, our course instructors, can meet with both you and your mentor, your site-based mentor, to make sure that you are comfortable and aware of all the requirements for your internship process. We will have the site supervisor evaluate your performance from the instructional side. Your site-based mentor that you choose will also be required to evaluate your performance before you are able to move on. And our program is aligned with the PSEL standards, the professional standards for educational leaders. So it's meant to be very robust. It's meant for you to tackle such topics as family engagement, equity, and also curriculum development. Thank you. Next slide. And our internship assessments, there's several assessments that are part of the internship semester, including the core beliefs reflection assignment. You are required to document your effort in a log that you submit with artifacts to document your participation. There's a 200-hour requirement, 50 hours of observation. So that would be things like attending a special education meeting or a board meeting. And the other 150 hours are active hours where you are documenting your engagement. So we want this to be a facilitated training experience for you. We also will include a clinical supervision reflection as well as a mentor assessment. And at the conclusion of the semester, you will put together your portfolio for presentation to your instructor, and also spend some time completing a reflection on the experience of your semester in the internship. Thank you. Next slide, please. And the one other thing I want to mention is that we also have a 5-course certificate for those of you who work in independent schools. That program is also online. And if you're interested in independent school leadership, These are very similar, but they are quite different because the audience is also different. But if you are aspiring to lead an independent school, we do have courses for those who would like to engage in learning about that process as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions about those courses as well. They're similar. They include the same topics, curriculum development, supervision, for example, but there's some unique idiosyncratic topics, for example, governance, which is not a topic that typically gets covered in public schools, but is very, very germane for the independent school world, as well as fundraising and development and marketing. Those are topics that we spend a lot of time talking about for the independent school leader. Thank you. Next slide, please.
All right, well, thank you, Dr. Anderson. So now we're going to continue by going over the application requirements. Applicants must submit a completed application, which can be found on the school's website. The application fee is $80. We will need all official transcripts, including institutions you may have taken courses but did not receive a degree. Again, this is from all post-secondary institutions that you have attended. Next, you will need to submit an essay. Please visit the school's website on the admissions webpage to learn more about the essay portion of the application. A current resume or CV, 2 letters of recommendation, and lastly, the GRE is not required for the school administration and supervision program. There are a few additional steps you need to take in order to complete the application process. If you're an international student, you must submit a TOEFL or IELTS score. And if your degree was completed outside of the US, you will need to complete a course-by-course evaluation. Additional information can be found on the school's website. The tuition for the 2021-2022 academic school year is $875 per credit for face-to-face classes and $926 per credit and a $20 per credit technology fee for online classes. And please note, tuition will increase approximately 5% for the next academic school year. We encourage you to view our tuition and fees page on the school's website for the most up-to-date information on tuition and fees. And if you're interested in applying for financial aid, we strongly encourage you to apply for financial aid when you start your application. The School of Education offers a limited number of partial need-based institutional scholarships each year. The awards range on average from $500 to $1,500 per semester and are applied to tuition expenses beginning in the fall semester. Please keep in mind, to apply for the SOE Endowed Scholarship, students must complete the FAFSA form. To learn if you qualify for the Endowed Scholarship or have any questions regarding the financial aid process, please visit the school's website. Thank you for attending the School Administration and Supervision virtual webinar. At this time, we would like to open up the floor for questions. And Dr. Anderson, while we wait for questions, we do get some frequently asked questions. The first question to kind of kick us off is, does this program lead to certification?
That's a great question. So thank you for asking that. Our program is designed to deliver the content. So what happens is you complete the program and it meets the requirements from the Maryland State Department of Education for the Admin 1. When you successfully complete the requirements of our program, we have fabulous staff that make sure that you get a stamp on your transcript that says that you have successfully completed this program for the Admin 1. Then you take that to the MSDE, the Maryland State Department of Education, to apply for your actual certification. So we don't actually issue the certification. That comes from the Maryland State Department of Education, but what we do is deliver the coursework that you need to successfully transact that process.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Anderson. The next question is, where are the classes held for in-person?
So we at one time held classes both in the Baltimore location on the Homewood campus as well as in Columbia. But we have, since the pandemic began, we have now shifted all of the in-person classes to the Homewood campus. We no longer have classes at the Columbia campus. So if there are in-person classes, those would take place at the Homewood campus. But most of our classes, to be completely honest, most of our classes are now online in admin and supervision.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson. Another question that we do get for the master's program, is there a fully online option available for the master's?
So most, as I said, the heart of our program is online in those 6 courses. Those courses are definitely online. We do have a few courses that are still in face-to-face, in a face-to-face format. So typically, if people have a challenge with coming to Baltimore to take those courses, we will work with those candidates to see whether there are appropriate substitutions so that we can make sure that they're still meeting the rigor of the program so that they can complete the course plan.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson. I see someone was raising their hand. If you would be so kind as to type your question in the chat box so we can read it aloud, that would be greatly appreciated.
And Dr. Anderson, I just received a message from a student asking, I will not have 27 months of teaching experience. I will have it in approximately 2 more months. Should I be able to apply? Yes. Sir.
Yes. Yeah, so again, when I tried to explain this earlier, but I may not have done it well. Typically, what Maryland's State Department of Education requires is that before you submit your paperwork to the state for your Admin 1 credential, you have to show that you have completed your 27 months of teaching, or 3 years of classroom instruction, or 3 years as a counselor, or 3 years as, in a school-based role under a certification. So if you don't have that, you are still allowed to complete your courses. You're still allowed to still take the coursework, because the presumption is that you will be getting the time on task while you're also still taking the classes. So as long as you're aware that before you submit your paperwork to MSDE that you have to have those 27 months completed, you are allowed to start the program. But it is important for you to understand that without those 27 months, you would not be able to get the credential. So it is important that you can start your classes, but you still, MSDE will not waive the requirement that you complete the 27 months of teaching before you get the Admin 1 credential.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson. Another question I just received was, do I need to complete the internship at my current workplace? Can it be at a school?
No, well, that's another great question. It's a common question too. So thank you for asking that. So we encourage you to do your internship at the site where you're currently working. It is complicated when candidates also want to try to do an internship out of their school, their current site, because we have to make sure that you're able to get all of the pieces of the internship completed in a timely manner. And so our recommendation, we often hear, when this question will come up, if, for example, the classroom teacher and the school administrator may not be on the best of terms, but we would suggest, that's why we would suggest that you talk to someone in the school now who has the Admin 1 credential. So if you and your principal are not on the same page about this process, or they feel you should wait and you want to move forward, then you should, find a different administrator. Perhaps it's the assistant principal, perhaps it is someone else in your school, a department chair. As long as they have the Admin 1 credential, they can supervise you in this role.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson. There's actually a 2-part question. The second question they have is, I plan on working full-time as a teacher. How many hours should I expect on coursework per week?
This is another great question. All of these are fantastic questions. So we typically advise that candidates should expect to spend 8 to 10 hours per week on their courses. And that includes your readings, that includes your submissions, that includes everything, engaging with your classmates as well. So while, as I said earlier, the program is fairly rigorous, it is still achievable. And so people do this program even as they have other roles in their schools. They do this as they are, often raising young families. And so we want people to be able to still engage with their current lifestyle. A lot of people say, for example, I frequently hear from our candidates, and they say, I do this on the weekend, or I do it early in the morning before I go to school. And so the real reason why this program has been so successful is because of its flexibility. Because while we recognize that many candidates want to have the building of a network be part of their graduate school experience at Hopkins, they also want the flexibility to be able to focus on the parts of their lives that are most important to them. And so this flexibility really does show itself in how you can expect to do the assignments, but within that framework, you should expect to spend approximately 8 to 10 hours per week on your work.
All right, so it looks like there are no more questions. Thank you again for your interest in the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Thank you, Dr. Anderson, for being here and for the wonderful presentation. And here on the slide, you will see our email address. Any questions, please reach out to us. Here's the email, and then here is our phone number. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Oh, I think
It looks like there's someone has a question.
Yes.
Hello.
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 Do you have a question,
Yeah.
sir?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would like to ask a question. Yes,
Go ahead.
please. I would like to find out that this institution give out, let's say, a scholarship.
Oh, scholarships. So Tanya or Sian, do you want to answer the question about scholarships for this this guest?
Hello.
Sure. For scholarship related, so we do have a very limited number of endowed scholarship, and you would have to fill out the FAFSA form in order to be qualified for the endowed scholarships. I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Also, you could also definitely and we'd be more than happy to answer your question there. I think we're having a little bit of a hard time hearing you.
Yes. Yeah. Hi.
Hi, sorry, I couldn't find the email with the link, but I noticed you guys were recording. Is there any way I can get the recording to get some information about this whole class and stuff and how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. The event was definitely recorded. So the recording will be sent to you within 1 week.
Oh, perfect. Yes, thank you so much. I was a little late because I couldn't find the link in my email. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, got it. No problem.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining, and I hope to meet you all soon. And if you have any other questions, thank you to our admissions office. They are fantastic and wonderfully supportive. But we're here as well and can answer any questions you have as well. Thanks.